Hi, everyone, and welcome to David It Out. Blaire It Out with your co-host, David English, and your host, Blaire Lametti.
Hi, everyone.
I know, such a turnaround. Wow.
I know. I love it.
So, hi, Blaire.
Hi,
How are
David.
you? Welcome. If you haven't noticed, I'm entering as the host today. And
Did you say hose or host?
What's the difference? A good time's a good time.
It really is.
So,
Okay.
I wanted to ask you about a few things regarding our charity, our podcast.
Okay.
I feel like, you've spotlighted a lot of people in our interviews, and now it's time to kind of turn the spotlight
Spotlight on
towards
me?
you. Yeah.
Why are my hands sweating?
I think you're not used to it.
I know. It's the control issue in me.
Hey, mine are too. I'm like,
Right? I know.
Okay.
Okay.
But beforehand, for everyone else listening, if you love us, if you like us,
Or hate us.
yeah, but are still interested in listening to us, you can always like, follow, and subscribe to all our platforms, which we're listed YouTube, Spotify, Apple iTunes, almost anywhere you can listen or watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, if you have any questions as well, let us know.
Share away. That's
Yes,
what I say.
absolutely. Share.
Yeah. And if you're looking to sponsor or want us to do a commercial for you, reach out because we can get that done. Oh, wait, I forget. You're the host. Okay, hold on. Let me get my co-host. Okay. Control issues gone.
Let me put my host panties on. Anyways, so
Okay.
yeah, question.
Okay.
What sparked the whole concept of starting a podcast?
Okay. Well, I missed my radio days. I was a radio music. I can't sing. I was on the radio morning show and I loved doing interviews. I loved being spontaneous. And honestly, I thought it was a great platform to get other people's stories out. And also being in the nonprofit world, I was like, hey, there's only so many commercials and media and TikToks and, all those things that you can do because it's 30 seconds, 15 seconds. How do you get the real story out? Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of like, how I work. I was like, one day, podcast, boom. And then I was like, tomorrow, let's do this.
And then the next day, it's here.
Yeah, it's done. I work very fast.
Yes.
I just like to say, I like to do what I say what I do. Are those
It's
the
a
things?
gift, though. It's a gift that not many people have. I feel like you're a great manifester, period. Like you've always, since I've known you, what you want to make happen, it say it and it's there. Like I don't even need the rest of it. I'm like okay,
genie?
this is happening. Yeah.
Like a magic genie?
Like the moment an idea pops out of your mouth and into my ears, I'm like, all right, we're in.
We're done. Well, and I knew something, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it or where we were going to go, but I knew that you were supposed to be right there by my side. I mean, everyone who meets us is always the dynamic duo.
Oh my God, and you kept saying that. I remember just being so nervous the more you would say it. I'm like, no.
And I'm like, what do we have to lose? I love it. Let's get people's stories out. Let's, have conversations, some real conversations. And, I've been a podcast fan, so I've listened to as many as I could. And I kept thinking, where is something that's positive, but also is informative and then, tells people stories, real stories. Because I was kind of going through a little bit of a mental struggle. And I was just like, gosh, I need some positivity in my life. Mm-hmm. And I was just having a hard time kind of finding what I was looking for. And so I was like, let's make it. Let's do it.
You kept mentioning needing a break. You're like, I need a break from life, so an escape, something I can just do to breathe.
Yeah.
How's that been feeling? Do you feel like you've succeeded?
I mean, it's always a challenge, right? I'm never stopping, but I think this is so much fun that it is a break, and I love it. And, a couple of weeks ago, we went to Pine Top, so I was like, oh, that's a mental break, but...
That was a mental break.
Yeah.
Like no other.
Yeah.
But no, and I'm glad to be on this ride with you. I was so terrified, which, by the way, I am... naturally an outgoing person, so I don't know why I was so terrified to be on this with you. But I think it's just on a grander scheme of thing, her power to manifest things and just make shit happens is far beyond my scope. So I have to process it every day.
Because I was like, you're doing this, and whether you are going to say no or not, I will find you.
I know there's no. I know that.
That's that's what I say to you all the time. I'm like, is there ever a no?
No.
No.
That's part of why we get along. It's just yes, okay, sure.
I don't like the word no, ever.
No, but you're also fearless, and I love that about you.
I mean, when I see something, I visualize it, and I'm like, this is how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And, definitely you get some like pushback or like, hey, maybe not this timing. And then I just kind of step back, pray about it. And then kind of you just see where life takes you.
Yeah. And I feel like we did, visualize this. I feel like from the beginning since Happy Mommy Hour.
Yeah.
The moment I remember you calling me up, I was like preparing for my wedding and everything. You're like, okay, we need to meet. Like, I have this idea. And you literally told me the whole scope of it down to this point.
Yeah.
Though we didn't know it was going to be a podcast at the time. You were more towards like vlogging.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, let's like start doing, which I guess
we're going to be
is
adding
the
that
same
too.
thing,
A little bit of our adventures.
We have like, our YouTuber being recorded and stuff. So I feel like, you've definitely manifested the entire Happy Mommy Hour show in just a few years. Like it's been cool to watch and be a part of. Like, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you,
very
friend.
proud to be here.
I am proud of us.
What would you say has been the biggest reward for you so far?
The biggest reward.
Yeah.
I would say getting the information out there that people need. I think hearing real life stories and challenges and trials and people overcoming them, I think is the biggest reward.
See, it's been continuing since Happy Mommy Hour. Because I remember a lot of people reaching out to you when you first started Happy Mommy Hour and talking about, oh my God, thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
Like, it made me feel like I wasn't alone. I knew how to handle this situation.
I think it's hard because, like, right when we're vulnerable, powerful things happen. And then it's also scary at the same exact time.
Yeah.
So, like, when you are vulnerable and you're telling something that's personal to you, and the problem is, David, is that I don't really think before I do. That is the problem.
I don't think that's a problem at all.
Probably,
it has totally worked out for you.
It has worked out for me, but then I find out
ways.
consequences afterwards. Like, right? Like, I do have to say, like, sharing the story about, like, even just, a couple episodes ago about my husband and that situation, I'm able to tell a story about, like, how I've healed and how I've overcome and how he's changed and overcome, but it still brings him shame. And it still brings him, like, to that point of, like, his vulnerability. Mm-hmm. So, like, not only is it my vulnerability, but it's also his as well. And
that's
so that's the consequence is like sometimes, to let the story out, you may hurt some people along the way. I'm sure some people that have been talked about in these podcasts are not thrilled with us.
Right.
But again, it's the story. It's my story.
It's your truth.
It's my truth.
Which I think that's, something people need to realize is everybody's story is their version of the truth. There's who's really can say what the truth actually is.
They say there's three versions, right? There's yours, mine, and then mine.
Yours, theirs, and then the actual truth.
It goes something like that.
You're like, basically whatever I say happened.
Well, I mean, there's obviously the three, right? There's a real truth, your truth, and whatever, their truth. And again, I can't even say it. But it is because it's like I'm really good at looking at other people and seeing what their truth is. Yeah. And I am a self-blamer. So I tend to be like, okay, why do I feel this way? Or what happened? How do I fix it? And then I become the problem in the situation. I've realized over time that I'm not the problem. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I have such a heart, and that is, I think I'm an enigma, or like, how do you say it? Like, I'm a weirdo. Like, I'm not normal. So like, in what people will see me, they don't understand me. They think it's like meant for something, or I'm trying to do something to make something else happen selfishly. Yeah. And I don't think people realize, like, I was born this way. I want to help as many people selflessly. Mm-hmm. And I think people look at me are like, why is she so giving? Why is she so happy? Like that, it doesn't make sense to people. And that's, to me, is really sad.
Yeah. No, and I get that because, I mean, we've had a few instances where even my own circle of friends were reaching out and, what about that Blaire girl? Is she? And I'm like, oh, yeah. And unfortunately it was...
I get it a lot.
Ugly situation because
it gets frustrating.
We don't talk about Blaire.
Yeah,
she's off limits.
She's off limits. I'm like,
I don't deal with that well.
And like, if there's a problem or something that I'm like doing, or something that I can fix, then I'm all ears. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not a defensive person. I will just be like, okay, well, like, tell me why. But when I start to hear that problem is not a me problem, it's a you being insecure. problem and you're just wanting to dim the light that like we're trying to do here. And then I have a problem with it.
It's a cause for
and it's not even a big
defensiveness,
problem.
yeah.
I'm just going to move away from you because I got things to do.
Yeah.
Like I'm on this earth for a very short time. I got things to do. And my whole plan is to help people. That's the point. And selfishly, I get off on that.
Nothing wrong with that.
I like helping people. Yeah. It gives me so much excitement. I love seeing their stories come out. I love being able to reach out to nonprofits, finding out what nonprofits are out there, and really, truly helping people.
Yeah.
That's
I feel like
important.
no matter what, there is always going to be a sense of selfishness when it comes to being selfless.
Yeah.
I mean, because same for me. I get off on helping people. I love seeing the smile. I love seeing them go from, I'm so sad, depressed, isn't working out, to seeing the hope, I guess, come back in their faces more than anything what I look for. When you get to see that hope come back in their eyes and they're just like, oh my God, like,
I know.
Wow, like, how did this work out? And that to me is like everything. I live for that. So I mean, I can understand that. And I feel like if there was any reason to be selfish, that would be the one. Like,
and I've been in those dark spots. Like I've been where I thought I had no one. I was by myself. I was going through some not good things. And I remember feeling alone and helpless and that no one cared about me and no one loved me. And I remember thinking if somebody could just reach out to me and give me like hope, that would do everything. Mm-hmm. And I remember somebody who didn't even know me giving me that. And that was so important to me because I think I was in a place in my life where I don't know if I'd be here. And so just somebody reaching out that was a stranger and was like, hey, I have this feeling that you're supposed to hear this. You are loved. You are meant to be here. Mm-hmm. You are important and you have things to do. And I took that really seriously. And it was crazy because I was like 22 at the time. And it was always in the back of my head.
Young, yeah.
I mean, I was broke. There's not like I could have like given people money at the time.
You're going through it.
I was going through it.
Yeah.
I worked 4 different jobs. I mean, I was paying all my own bills. It was a struggle. Like I was just like, what is this about? Like I was very lost in trying to find out who I was and my self-worth. And it didn't take until like years later. But I was like, I
almost feel like that's what your 20s are for, though. Your 20s are for exploring. You know what I mean? Adventure, finding out who you're. Because you don't. You're just entering the world. Like you're fresh out of 18. You're coming in. You're like, right. Yeah.
My 20s were meant for this. The 20s apparently now are all beautiful, perfect, and are famous. No, but when we were 20, I was 20. It was a little side of alcoholic.
Just a little.
with a lot of lost. So, I mean, that was that. But now I feel like all these kids have like their shit together. And I'm just like, how? Where's the struggle? Why do you have 2 eyebrows? And your makeup's on point. Like, did you see? I'm like, I had no eyebrows at 18. Now these girls are like drop dead gorgeous. No awkward stage. There's no awkward stages anymore. Yeah.
Thank God. Lucky for them. Yeah. Went through a lot of them.
Lucky for them.
I mean, my eyebrows were shaved off. I feel like I'm still going through one right now.
They look fabulous.
They're drawn in. They're fake.
You can't tell, right? You can't tell.
Yeah. Short side story. I was trimming my eyebrows and completely messed up.
I can't even tell now.
Well, yeah, I learned how to powder them in really quick for this, so that way I wouldn't look like such an alien.
Okay, full like reveal. He calls me up and he goes, "Podcast's off. Podcast's off. Never. I'm not going." And I go, "Why?" He goes, "Because I shaved my eyebrows." And sends me a meme of Britney Spears, and I'm going, "No, what do you mean? You didn't shave them off?" Sends me a picture. Oh, they're shaved.
And my hair. I had no hair and I had no eyebrows. Like it was, all I had was a beard. It was awful.
And I looked at him and I was like, I don't care if they're shaved and you have no hair. You're getting there.
Yeah. So thank God.
I'm a very supportive friend.
Oh, thank God my friend Christina had some like eyeliner pencils
You can't even tell.
Yeah, I know.
I waxed one of my eyebrows off before and I was devastated.
You know, I totally thought about it too. I was like looking with one eyebrow off and one on and I was like, it's not the worst look I've had. I was like, we can make this work.
No, the best is when you penciled him in, you look like Oscar the Grouch. And you made one like Angry
I
Birds.
had one thin
Yeah.
and angry, and the other one was so thick
Yeah.
and blocky.
It's talented.
I thought I looked gorgeous.
You look
Oh my
gorgeous.
God.
We were always gorgeous.
It took me back to when I was a little girl and had my chola brows. It was wonderful. Oh, those were the times.
Same ones.
Yeah.
I think it was Drew Barrymore. Is it Drew Barrymore that like told us at like I'm older than you, but like it was cool to have no eyebrows? Like the thinner the better.
I don't know. I feel like Whoopi Goldberg's been rocking that look for a long time.
Yeah, maybe. I can't remember. All I know is that there was like that like era of movies, and it was like super cool to not have eyebrows.
I think that was like the whole 90s.
It really was.
I mean, because even like Gwen Stefani had the
Gwen
super
Stefani,
pencil thin.
yeah.
Drew Barrymore did have
And then
those
it was
with her
like
like crazy yellow blonde
the
hair.
dark purple lipstick and the frost eyeshadow. That was a thing.
Why?
MAC. I blame MAC. It was like that was it. It was like MAC.
I feel like Mac brought in the bronzers when you turn like just everybody looked brown.
Or when you take photos and you would look like so not your color. Like you would look like a ghost. And the neck, the line. Oh my gosh. That ruined a lot of prom pictures for me.
I know.
I was like, I was so pretty. And then I looked like, and then the hairstyles. Like now, looking at all you girls in formals proms, they have like these beautiful, sleek dresses. And then they have this long, gorgeous hair and their makeup's all perfect.
Now? Oh, we're totally in a time of glamour now.
Now,
Yeah.
I looked like Oompa Loompa got into like a jelly jar. No, I really did. My hair like tousled and the little like fake braids with the little clips everywhere. Like,
My favorite is like looking back at the 90s prom photos. So like it looks like glamour shots, like total glamour shots.
full done. It was like a whole thing too. Like you got your makeup and hair done all day long. Ah, good old days.
I know.
Every pretty girl needs to go to a ball.
My God.
Speaking of, there is a few galas coming up that we need to be a part of.
Is there? Mm-hmm. Which ones?
Reach for the Stars is having a gala.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
in September. So just to let you guys know, we want to go to a gala. I'm going to post some of
let's
letting
go.
you guys know.
Let's get dressed up and look all snazzy.
I'm all for the nonprofit galas. Who doesn't want to get dressed up and be pretty?
The last one we went to the for Kason's crew was
That was super fun.
beautifully
I think it's going to be at
done.
the same place, Site 17.
Okay, that's an awesome place.
I know.
Yeah, they did such a good job.
Look at my control freak issues. I'm going to come right back and try to take on
She
this whole
is.
entire one. I'll be a good girl. I'll be a good girl.
And I'm only too ready to take the back seat. I'm like, yeah, dang it, I'm sweating here.
I know. Well, you know, speaking of like control, we've both been in like a definite changes lately of like letting go.
I think that's the universe's way of saying we're too controlling.
Too controlling.
Yeah.
But make things happen and be good. And I feel like we've like let go of some toxic behaviors. We've let go of some toxic people.
I feel like we got a lot of that out in our Sholo or Pine Top trip.
Yeah.
I always want to say Sholo, but it's not Sholo, it's Pine Top.
Pine Top.
Yeah, in our Pine Top trip.
I have a house there, an Airbnb, and it's just amazing, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But I do think that with like doing stuff like this, like we've been like, you know, purging a lot of negative behaviors.
I think because we're able to get it out.
Yeah.
We're also, now that we're speaking of it, it's also becoming more, like we're becoming more aware of it.
Yeah.
But it also like, not that we've gotten a lot of bad feedback, but there are also, you know, people don't hesitate to mention what they see or notice. So that kind of always brings awareness to us as well, which is, I mean, it's good. I feel like you and I are really good at taking in that information and processing it in a way that if it feels it's beneficial to us, we'll absorb it and take it in. And if it's not resonating with us, we're like, try again. Yeah.
Bye. So I know you've like cut out toxic people. Have you seen me like different than I was like 4 years ago?
Oh God, yeah, completely.
Like
it's, it's a huge growth. I feel like when I first met you, there was a lot of need for
I'm sensitive.
validation. Yeah, validation and slight admiration. It was like if you didn't have that attention, you felt like you weren't doing.
Yeah.
At least from the outside, it felt like maybe you felt like you weren't doing right.
Yeah.
Or good enough.
Probably.
And it was interesting to see, especially when, you know, all the drama went down with the past friendships and stuff like that, to watch how you went from, you know, this sucks, this hurts, like, why? All I try to do is be the best, to, you know what? I now know that I'm good. I now know that it's not me. I now know that I'm just trying my best. And to see you validate yourself, I think has been the biggest growth. Hugest, is that even a word? Biggest growth that I've seen from you.
Yeah.
Like, and it's nice to see, because also now you're like, you know what? I don't necessarily need the admiration. I don't necessarily need the friends. I don't need to constantly be with somebody. Like, now I'm so content with just being either by myself or with just my family and having them and enjoying them, or just the few little people. And it's like, there's a lot of power that came with that.
Yeah,
And
I think I know what's important to me now.
Yeah, I don't think that you would have been able to grow all of this, the Happy Mommy Hour, the Blaire It Out, your real estate, you know, without having gained that confidence in yourself. And honestly, I feel like real estate was the precipice for that. Precipice, I think that's the right word for it. Like, that's what got you going. Like, the moment you got into real estate, like, it was fun watching you just like literally like fucking kick through that door, like not even walk through. You're just like, boom.
I was like,
Blaire's here, bitches.
I
like,
did.
Watch me. And then you did. And you like took over. And I think that right there was like such a confidence boost for you. I mean, because once you realized you could, you did. I mean, and you always have. Since I've met you, you've always done.
Purpose was different. It wasn't just real estate. And I think that's what a lot of people would be like.
Your purpose to join real estate was to fund the nonprofit.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it became so successful, because it was such a selfless act. Like, you didn't go into real estate like, this is for me, this is for me.
Yeah.
It was all about, I need to find a way to make Happy Mommy Hour stand its ground and work. Yeah. And you did.
I think that was hard, because everyone's like, "What? How did you become successful? Like, how did you become so, like, on the map so quickly?" And I was like, because it has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good at my job. I'm very good at it.
Yeah.
I'm loyal and I'm respectful, and I also am ethical. Mm-hmm. But that, at the end of the day, is not why people would reach out to me. They knew I was a safe place. They knew I could be trusted. And they like the fact that I'm not so money hungry. It's not, you're not a check.
Well, and a lot of them you gave, you know, to a nonprofit that they wanted, or a local charity.
It really goes to us. I mean, if anything, it just goes through Happy Mommy Hour to help other nonprofits, or helps, local families. And that was what was really important to me. And what's crazy about this world that we live in is, like, the more doors that open up, the more, like, it just keeps opening. Like, you're just like, okay, I want to help this many people. And then it, like, happens. And I know you call me, like, the manifesting, and I do have some big plans, and where I want to see this podcast. I want to see, you know, it an outlet for people to really heal. Mm-hmm. And not be in such, like, a vulnerable space when it comes to mental health.
And I think that's the biggest goal for both of us when we came on this, was we both had stories to share that we felt could potentially help a lot of other people. Because we've been in that place where it's, like, dark and lonely, both of us. I mean, I'm still coming out of it, and you've helped me tremendously by just being so amazing. So I don't know. Congratulations.
I just see, like, the beauty in life. Like, I feel like I don't want to see people sad. I don't want to see people struggling. And life can be hard. Like, we could go through some major things. Like, my life has not been easy. I know a lot of people think, like, I've been handed, like, a golden platter. And I'm like, that is not the case. Everything you see, I've, like, worked my butt off for. And I've had to do a lot of healing, mental healing. Like, you know, there's been a lot of trials and darkness that I've had to come out of. And I just want people to know that, like, there is that light through it. And when I saw you going through it, and that was really hard, because I didn't always know what to say. And I didn't always know what to do, but I was not going to let you feel alone in it. And I wasn't going to let you sit in it for too long. But I also wasn't my timeline for you to get out of it. My timeline was, it's your timeline. But I wanted you to know that I supported you and loved you, and I was going to be there for you.
I think that's why you're so great at this, though, and I think that's why it works out for you. Because how you did with me, you do with everyone else. I mean, you're really good at maintaining space for people to just heal, or just or be themselves. Like, you know, and that's what you did for me. I don't necessarily think there was much that you could have done for me besides just be there, and you did. When I needed you, you were there. When I wanted to be alone, you let me. You know what I mean? So I think that's very important.
I didn't let you be alone for too long. Let's be real.
A lot of times you'd pop in and you're like, hello, bitch.
Yeah.
It's time to come out.
Yeah.
Mama's home.
I was.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not ready. And then you just show up.
I think it's like sometimes you have to be the person who shows up, you
And
know?
you did,
I
yeah.
think you get stressed out and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But like, just show up and continue to show up. Now, when it starts like to take a toll on your mental health and like your like physical being, then take that break and like do what you can. But the reality is like there's been so many people that have like lost loved ones because they just thought that they'd be okay.
Yeah.
And they
I'm
weren't.
grateful for you. And I try to be that way a lot of the times. I don't always feel like I succeed, but
Oh,
you know,
my
I'm
gosh, are
always
you
definitely
kidding?
inspired by you.
I love you.
So.
You know exactly what to like say or do, and when I'm going through my little moments.
Do you? I always feel like I'm not doing enough.
You're perfect.
you
But
do a
sometimes
lot.
I don't need. Sometimes I just need to vent it out myself, and I just need someone to listen to it because I'm like, I'll spin. I'll be like, what? And I just need someone to rail me in. Like rail me in. That was probably not real.
Real?
Reel me in. No, not that. Reel me in and be like, I mean, it depends on who. And so, and tell me like, hey, like you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like you're okay. You matter. And that's like what I want this, you know, to be about. So, I mean, I got big goals. What can I say? I'm only here for a little bit.
And they're all going to happen. I believe that.
I know.
I totally believe it.
My son went to camp for the first time. He went to church camp, and you know, my oldest son has like struggled with like, you know, he has a disability, and he has like these kind of like different social things that he's, you know, been going through. And it was a really hard decision because a couple of years ago he was getting really picked on. I mean, really bad, bullied at school, and it devastated me.
I'd imagine.
It was, I've never wanted to like go in and like knock a school down in my life. And so what was crazy is like I wanted to start this whole entire like Be Kind program at schools where like, you know, I would show up and I would play a game, and that anybody that was by themselves would come and be able to play this game. And literally 2 weeks after we got this like whole thing set up, COVID happened. So then we pulled him from that, and we did private homeschool. And so he's kind of really struggled with these like friendships. And so like next year he's going to high school. And so I was like, hey, you're going to go to this camp. He was so nervous about it, so scared about it. And then he goes to this camp and he's like, Mom, I've got all these friends. These people are so cool. Like he's sending me pictures and he's doing all these things, and he's just like so happy about it.
I loved watching that video of him dancing with one of his new friends.
I mean,
they're on the dance floor,
he totally
just
dancing. I mean, he beats to his own drum. I prayed for that for this child. I said, I don't want you being like anybody else. I want you to like change the world. I want you to be like this loving, caring human being and like make things happen. Not be like everybody else. Oh boy, did I get that prayer answered. I mean, he is his own total human being. And he's the most kindest, loving, different little weirdo I've ever had in my life. And I love him for
He's
it.
great.
I'm like, shout out to the weirdos. That's like the whole point. We're all a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah.
And it's totally okay.
Own your weirdness.
Own your weird. I love that.
Yeah.
Be kind.
Absolutely.
And let your like, you are the, you know, like you don't have to push that on anybody else.
Like, I
but
almost
this
wish
is who
I
you
could
are.
do your dance you did this
My
weekend.
little dance. I am just like, I like to be different.
Yeah. It's fun.
Whatever pops in my head, I'm like, oh,
Let's do it.
let's do that. Does
Yeah.
it make me laugh? Does it make like me have a good time? Then let's do it.
Absolutely.
Like, just stop being so negative. And it was funny though, because McKay, my son, oldest son, he was like, thank you so much, Mom, for that, taking me to that camp. And he's like, I know I was scared and I know I didn't want to go. He's like, I met the coolest kids. And then he's like calling his friends like in front of us, like, because he's like so excited that he's got these friends. And it's just so,
beautiful.
I'm like, how sad is that?
It's not sad. It's beautiful.
No, not for him. I'm just saying, how sad is that? Like, kids are so excited for when someone's nice to them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how hard is that to teach our children?
To be nice.
Be nice.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Like,
It
be
really is.
nice, be kind. And he was just like saying these like adult things. And I'm just like, gosh, you're going to be okay, kid.
And it really is what we teach our children. Because if you look back, like, you know, kids suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough being a
mean.
kid, even when we went to school.
And
I can
now-
only imagine now with like technology and stuff like that, what it'd be like.
But it's almost, I heard now, like, it's like almost you're cool if you're not cool. Like if you're a little different, like that's like,
So being weird is cool now.
yeah. But I mean, again,
I
I
see
haven't
that,
been in
though.
school in forever. So I think hopefully we're becoming more tolerable and being nicer to one another.
Yeah. I would hope so.
That's all I can hope for my kids is just to be nice.
Well, and then that's where you teach them like how to let go of certain people, toxic people, if they need to.
That's
You know
hard
what I
because
mean?
he did
And I
have his
feel
first breakup, and like being a mom of all
Mm-hmm.
boys and trying to teach them to be like respectful and, you know, always be kind and listen
Yeah.
to women or to girls, you know, like that. It's a very difficult, you know, situation to be in as a mom of all boys because I'm so protective of women and so protective of like being respectful. So I'm very clear with them. But
Yeah.
he had a breakup and it was really hard for him. And he struggled with it a lot because it was his first,
It
you
was
know,
his first,
real
yeah.
love.
Puppy love.
I know. And I wanted to be like, oh.
That's always the hardest because you don't know what to do and you're so excited and you give it your all and you're just like, oh my God, I got a crush, I got a girlfriend, look at that.
It's like dealing with kids and their heartbreaks is so hard because it's like you feel what you feel, and then you're like you see your child's heart broken, and you know just kind of talk to them about it. I mean, you know, you're so close with like my kids,
Yeah,
so
they're great.
they like to talk about it. And he goes, Mom, I totally met a girl at camp. I was like, oh God, another one. Because I don't think he realizes how beautiful he is and how cool he is. And so he's just like, hey, I think she liked me. And I was like, well, who wouldn't, kid?
Yeah.
Like, you're an amazing human being.
Probably did.
And it's funny because I'm just like, oh, this kid has no clue the power he holds.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for high school at all. Like, I don't know. That's a lot.
That's all you can do is just be there, teach him, continue to teach him how to respect women.
Yeah,
And
you gotta
respect himself.
and
too.
respect himself too, because I mean, I've been around some girls that don't always do the same for the guys. So,
No.
but it is scary being a woman in this world and like living that life and always having to have fear or what you're wearing or not wearing, or you know, it's terrified. And I will not raise sons who ever try to take advantage, and I would literally fight them.
You're like, don't think just because I'm a girl I can't take you down.
No, I mean you know, they're all in jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, which is like very like to teach
And they're
respect.
Kicking butt.
Yeah,
at
they're
it.
really
Like,
good at it.
Jesus.
And you know, I teach that. That's like huge, so important for me, is to make these boys realize, and hopefully, I do something right with
Yeah.
them.
I think you will. I think, you know, you can only take a day at a time.
I know.
That's all you can do. And I feel like you're doing great. Like anytime something pops up, you're there to chat.
I do. I like to have conversations. I don't want to like yell or scream or do anything. I just want to like sit back and have a conversation with my children about like what are they feeling? What are they going through? And then when I think that they're maybe wrong in this situation, of how to guide them into like, hey, do you see where this could be at? Or do you see where their point of view is on this?
Yeah.
And just kind of constantly always putting respect into it, which I think is huge.
What do you do in situations where you feel like you've been stumped? Like they're doing something that you don't have an answer to, or like you know it needs addressing, but you're not quite sure how?
Like daily conversations. You know, porn is one thing that I think is like very interesting because I think it's definitely pushed on our children, and everyone says like, oh, come on, they're boys, it's okay. And I'm very against it.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm like, everyone's their own thing. But my problem with it is that I'm seeing somebody who it doesn't look like they're in that situation. I don't like it. I don't like where porn comes from. I don't like how it can create a false relationship inside your mind. Mm-hmm. I think that you can get used to certain seeing things. And so that's what I have conversations with them about. I'm like, hey, like, I get it. Like I talk about masturbation. I'm like, hey, it's normal.
Yeah.
It is 100% normal to masturbate. Preach. Like girl will masturbate. Okay.
Do it, have it.
You
Yeah.
do it. You do whatever you want. However, when you start to look at things visually and you're looking for them on an access of a computer that can give you anything, that scares me. That terrifies
It's literally anything.
because it's anything. And then I'm like, one, women do not do that. If you think you're going to be getting this, oh oh my God.
No.
And this it's so fake.
Yeah.
And so not what a relationship is. And I think it's scary. I think it's scary.
It creates a false sense of what sex actually is or should be.
I do. And that's what I worried. So when I talked to them about that, I was like, listen, you have needs or you have something that comes through your mind, you have your private time. But please don't get on that computer and search for things. If you want magazines or something like that to help with your mindset, or a book, to help with that, that's one thing. But I'm not into the whole free access to porn
like a
thing.
Playboy or something.
Like a Playboy or anime, I think is supposed to be huge, I guess, for kids. I don't know. Or
I hear that. I don't know what that is.
I think anime is a huge thing for women too.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's very different. But I don't know because I haven't researched. So am I looking at anime? Is anime really dark and bad because I haven't really searched it? So I have no idea.
I thought it was just a cartoon.
It's sexy cartoons. It's very voluptuous, but then they tie them up. So then there's some weird things in that too.
Yeah.
So I'm
That's weird for a cartoon. It's not okay.
It's not a cartoon, David. It is a very sexual thing. And it's very a lot of the kids are into it, is that anime. So I'm I don't know. I got to research it because I don't know
So you think they're watching cartoons and lo and behold, it's a cartoon porn?
It is. It's a thing.
That's weird.
Anime is a thing. I'm pretty sure it's but I'm just saying, I get it. Those things are difficult for me to talk to my children about because would I just be don't have sex and don't watch porn?
Yeah.
Okay. That worked out for your mother real well as well. So I'm no, I want to be reality here. Every Matthias guy from my husband to his dad got people pregnant before marriage.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, so looking back when we were kids, I feel like porn was much more contained than it is now. I feel when we were kids, even if you went to a video store, there was a separate section that was for adults only and you had to show your ID. Or I remember convenience stores used to have porno magazines too, but they wouldn't even let you walk near it.
They had the red covers over them.
Yeah. And now more than ever, I feel it's just in your face.
Yeah, I mean,
even on Instagram. I've unfollowed so many pages because I'll go to these, they're supposed to be comical pages that I follow that have all these funny memes. And even on those, they'll start sexualizing both men and women. I'll randomly be scrolling and I see a girl sitting there jiggling her bra and I'm whoa. First off, anyone who knows me, not into it. Second, no,
it's just we wonder why we're in the world we are, where we are numb, that nothing excites us anymore. Everything is sexualized.
Yeah.
I mean, you go back to pageants and little girls putting on makeup. I mean, look at the crazy with John Bonet.
Oh my God,
that little girl was just absolutely gorgeous, but I'm sorry, the makeup, the hair, the parading around. I know that that's exciting for some families, but sadly, we live in such a perverted world.
Yeah.
Everything is so sexualized. Mm-hmm. And then we wonder why these boys are feeling the way they're feeling towards.
And they think it's okay.
They think it's okay. And it's I get really frustrated because it's when I hear women who are well, I have a daughter and I need to, protect her. And I'm I have sons that need protection as well because they both are children. And we have this false, thinking that little girls are the only ones that are taken.
Yeah.
Boys are trafficked just as much as girls.
Yep.
And it is so not talked about. And they're kidnapped. They're traded. They are vulnerable to all of the, predators as well. And I think that we need to be on the same page of protect all our children.
Protect all of them. Absolutely. There's not one that is more important than the other. I mean, they're all precious, innocent little beings that need to be guided and protected.
I do have to say though, as being a woman, I do feel my sons have a little bit more of because we've put them in jiu-jitsu and we've done things to protect themselves. I think it is hard for, strength-wise and all of the things that are being told, you're okay, they're okay, they're okay. As in, like, I just look what you're seeing children wearing.
Oh, yeah.
Or look what, like, how much their makeup is, like, on point. 12-year-olds are looking like they're 18 now. It's really getting scary. And that is also another thing for my sons, because I'm like, how do you know how old they are? Like, I'm hoping that they have as much innocence, and they are hoping that, like, those special times are definitely on a progress. Because I've told my kids, I'm like, you do not do anything without permission.
Yeah.
It's just, you do not.
And I think that's a good thing to learn.
Consent
to
is
teach.
real. Consent is sexy. We talk about that all the time. Consent is sexy.
Yep.
And there is a time, definitely, like, once you're dating, you're like, hey, I want you to, like, grab my face and kiss me. But
I also feel like that's a conversation to be had. Yeah, exactly. You know how to read your person based on the conversations you have. So,
but it just is sad, because we are in a world that it's going to keep getting worse and worse, because it's just so in our faces.
I feel like it is. And it's sad to see.
It really is. Well, what do you think they're doing it for?
Yeah. Exactly.
When you've got sex trafficking as, like, the number one money or income, I mean, they're making billions of dollars on human bodies.
Little baby human bodies.
And babies. I mean, it's disgusting. And then you see why your Instagram and your TikTok is full of just sexual innuendos. Like, it's constantly. I mean, it's sad, because these children are just getting it put into their head that this is how it's okay. It's like when we were talking about porn. You think that's what you wanted to do when you were younger? I want to be a porn star. Like, that's not happening. And you know where it came from? A lot of them because they saw Playboy. And Playboy, you thought, oh my gosh, look at these beautiful women empowering bodies. Because that's what Playboy lied and said it was. They're like, oh, we're here to empower your body and make you feel like you are feminism. You know, it's all about women and taking their control over their body. You know how many rapes happened in Playboy?
Yeah. And it wasn't, did you ever watch that documentary?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, it all started out that way. They're like, oh my God, cool, this is my way into the industry. Like, wanting a whole other goal, acting, modeling, something, but this was a way in. And why? Because it was the easiest way to attract men. Men, men are easy to manipulate. So show them a little skin, like. But yeah, and it turned out these women were coming in with the idea of, like, yeah, this is me being a strong, powerful woman, owning my body, Yeah. And
taking it back. Like, that was like it. Like, hey, this is my body. I get to show it the way I want to, in a beautiful setting, in a beautiful, safe picture.
And they were made to believe that they could until they couldn't.
Till they couldn't. And then he was drugging them and basically passing them off like party favors for his rich friends.
And it's literally party favors.
Disgusting. Yeah. And then one thing came to the other. Then you had Playboy, then you had Penthouse, then you had Hustler, you had all of these things.
And it just kept getting worse.
Kept getting worse and worse. And then Playboy turned into basically a porn station. Yeah. And the after hours, which it's like it just kept going a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. And now we are in a world where basically it's all about sex.
Yeah. And and you know me, I'm all about, like, being comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
Like, I love being free. Love it. But I don't like being sexualized. And I think that that's the thing about this, is like, there is empowerment in being free in your own skin, but it's when you're sexualized that it takes it away. And like, I hate a lot of people are like, well, I've had people say, oh, you never mind, like, showing skin, you never mind being naked. I'm like, that's on my terms.
Yeah.
And when I feel comfortable doing so with the people I'm comfortable with, I'm like, y'all are trying to sexualize it, and I'm not okay with that, which is why I'm not going to get naked right here and right now. Like, not happening. Sorry. Thanks.
Well, I get called a bimbo because I have big boobs, so all the time. So it's like, okay, like, I'm allowed to wear what I want to wear, and I'm allowed to dress a certain, like, way that I feel sexy and beautiful. And why do you get an opinion of that? And why am I all of a sudden dumber because I've got bigger boobs? That makes no sense. No sense. But I think it's like, we're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Like, we want to sexualize you, but then if you're too sexual, then it's your fault. Like, it's sad. It's sad.
I had a conversation with a family member. We were talking about women, and I'm just, like, disgusted at what I'm hearing. I'm like, oh my God. He's like, I'm being told, oh, well, women need to understand, like, they're so sacred, they're so precious. And I'm like, no, I think women understand that. I'm like, I think you guys need to understand that. Men, well, we do, which is why, we don't want them to be whores. I'm like, except for when they're with you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I never understood that mentality. And so when I'm hearing this from my own family, I'm like, how stupid are men? Like, you don't want them to be whores, but then you want to take their virginity and sexualize them and use them for sex and then toss them away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but then that makes them I'm like, how does that work? Like,
Yeah.
what are you truly trying? Like, just say what it is. Like, you want to be the only one that's a whore and you want a virgin. Like, let's just call it what it is. And so then he's like, but Dave, like, you're just not seeing it for what it is. Like, it's just because women are precious. I'm like, no, again, like, I'm seeing it for what it is.
Yeah.
You are not, which is why I treat women like they're precious, because they are.
Well, they're precious until the subject is horny.
Yeah.
And then wants to do whatever he wants. And then you're a tease. And then, you led me on.
Yeah.
I saw how you were looking at me. Look how you're dressed. That's okay. I'm allowed to do whatever I want with you because you made me feel a certain way. And it's getting to the point where enough's enough.
Yeah. It truly
And
is.
women are getting over it. And they want to be protected. That's why the Me Too movement was so huge. Because no, my body is my body. And you don't get to put your hands on it because you think you have these
Entitled to
urges. It makes no sense
No,
to me.
it doesn't. And I think that's something funny that I see, especially now in the age of like social media, is on this TikTok. You see, like, I follow a lot of like self-help or psychology and stuff, and I'm seeing like a bunch of men always complaining, like, oh, women just don't want to date, women don't want to get married, and I'm like, are you sure are you sure? Because I see like a lot of my girlfriends are getting engaged.
Yeah.
Boyfriends getting married. I'm like, but what if it's just you, bro? Like,
Well, there's like
what
this
is because
whole,
you're like a
there
dog?
is.
Like,
There is.
let's
There's
just get
this,
down to what it is.
I can't remember what they call. Are they called intels or what is it? When it's a choice, like they want to have sex but they can't, and so then they like are murdering women. Like it's what happened at the Idaho murders. That's what I want to say it's incel.
Incel.
Yeah. And it's
I've not
basically
heard of
when they blame the woman because they can't get laid.
That's what's going on. That's what I literally hear.
It's crazy.
On all these social media, like, is all these sad, lonely men talking about that and blaming it on women. And I'm like,
what?
Seriously? Like
what?
Involuntary celibacy.
Involuntary celibacy. Yeah, that is what. Yeah, celibate, but involuntary.
Involuntary celibate.
Like-
Celibacy.
Yeah, that's your excuse. I'm actually don't want. They scare me.
That
Like
is
I don't even want to go
ridiculous.
onto. I'm like going to end up being a target.
And then they wonder why women don't want nothing to do with them, because you guys are creepy.
But it's not even the.
Like-
It's like being normal. You're telling me in this day and age that like you can't get laid. Like that's crazy.
And especially in this day and age, like, it is so easy.
Like,
it is
it's-
so easy. That's
I mean, it's sad, but like I'm telling you, like we are in this. Like I see a lot of light, and I see a lot of beautiful things happening in this world, and I want to definitely focus on that. But I am seeing a lot of scary things, and I think that's why you're getting the earth. Heartbeats changing. I think you're seeing new things happening in this world. I think you're seeing people wake up for the first time and say enough's enough, and we want change.
yeah.
Because it's important. I think look at how like the movie star doesn't have anything anymore. Like, do you remember when we were growing up and you looked at like the movie stars, like the old movie stars, the
Glamorous, they had it
classic,
all.
beautiful, and you were like, wow, this movie star has it all. I don't feel like we have that anymore. I don't think you're looking at really movie stars anymore as like this idolization. You kind of look at them, listen to them gossip, and then you kind of talk about them, and then you're like, okay. Like before, you're like, oh, Brad Pitt's voting this way, or Brad Pitt is doing this movie. But now it's like,
I feel like it depends. Maybe for us in our age, but I there's a lot of kids, and even then there's a lot of people in my age that still idolize celebrities. And
Yeah.
I say that loosely because I'm like, there's a lot of people out there that I'm like, you have no talent. Like, you're not a celebrity. They're just there to
Yeah.
like mess up the show and like stir the pot. And
Yeah.
like, and there's a lot of people that aren't helping.
yeah, I just
using
don't.
their platform.
I don't think I see the oh my gosh, like wow factor from the whole public. Like and maybe that's just me, but I've not seen it. I've actually seen people kind of like go, okay, because I think we see them so much. Like it's like so saturated. Like now, before we had Star Magazine and we had Us Weekly. We had these different magazines that you got to read. Now it's every social media
see what you're saying.
platform.
Yeah.
I think it's oversaturated.
Yeah.
It's oversaturated. So now it's like, what's a movie star anymore?
Right.
Like, what is a movie star anymore?
Because now anybody can be.
No, because before you would say, who is the movie stars? You had like Marilyn Monroe. You've got Natalie Wood. You would have these amazing, wonderful, talented stars playing
Talented
these
being the key word.
talented and having great movies and directors and writers and all of these things that you would see that you'd be like, oh my gosh, he's going to win the Grammys or an Oscar. And now I just don't feel like I see it as much anymore. That really wows me because I mean, you do have so many socialites and you have so many social media stars. And I don't know who half these new people are. No, I don't.
No, I get it. No, yeah.
And it makes me kind of like sad because I'm like, gosh, I miss a movie star. I do. I miss that classic movie star. I really can't. Maybe like obviously Meryl Streep, but like who would you say is like an actual real star right now?
I don't pay attention.
See?
Yeah.
You don't pay attention because it's really not on your desire list. It's so everywhere.
I don't care.
We can find out what they're doing at any time or where.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just it takes the romance out of it.
Yeah. But I know. I mean, I never really was a big like celebrity follower either. Since I was young, it's never
not a big thing. See, I loved it. I mean, I always would like, what's happening? What's the star? Who's following what? Who's dating who? I mean, Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears. I was like, oh my God, like live that life. But now it's like, you look at Britney Spears today and you're just like, what's really going on? And what, like, is this a mental health issue? Is she free? Is she not free? I mean, you can go down that rabbit hole all day long and look how many people have that story out there that are talking about it. But Britney Spears, a lot of people like lay off because they're not really sure what's going on there.
Yeah,
but you do.
Girl.
I mean,
feel like that's just a tragedy.
I don't even know, like, because what you're not sure, right? Like, what are we seeing here? And so I think that's why you've got a lot of people in both directions on that. But other movie stars, you're just like, okay, I see you now on every show, it's a lot.
Yeah,
I miss it. I miss a classic movie star.
Yeah.
But we are what we see,
classic movies.
What we feed ourselves, right? We are what that is. And I would say definitely for those out there that are like, have young kids and watch what they're like looking at.
Absolutely.
Like
monitor screen time.
And be careful of the phones. Like I'm the worst at this because my kids like will take my phone and like want to listen to it and read and everything. And I'm like, what are you watching? Like, what are you watching? Like, we were talking about the anime stuff. Like, I don't know, like, what that is. Like, who's talking to my kids? Like, they have the, like, headset when they're playing Xbox and all that stuff. And I'm like, who are you talking to? It's so scary. And I'm definitely really big about my kids about, like, hey, there's predators that will tell you that they're a kid. There's predators that will use another kid. Like, you got to be careful. Don't say your address. Don't tell them, like, where you're at. But it's so scary because they're so good at what their manipulation is. That it's like, kids can't be kids anymore. You can't even go outside and like ride your bike and go get the ice cream truck or had your doors unlocked. Like my doors were always unlocked growing up. We didn't go home till 7 p.m., 8 p.m. at night, maybe 9 or 10. You found food on, neighbor's house.
Yeah. See, we were lucky. We had a bunch of family in our neighborhood. So we just, whatever house was closest, we'd stop in.
I miss that. I want kids to start playing outside, but then I'm also like, you see the news and you're scared.
It's scary. Yeah, absolutely.
I just want change. I want this world to be like, have safe places, have, local farmers markets that are able to like help people who are struggling. I just want people to like reach out and help one another and like protect each other.
Yeah. I think little by little,
Yeah.
Everybody just needs to do their part, like what speaks to them as far as helping and go for it. And they might find something like so fulfilling and rewarding in it as well at the end of the day.
I know. It's hard because like the more you do stuff like this, the more like you help people, you start to hear their stories and you kind of like get that veil. Like, you see what's behind the curtain and you kind of see like there is a lot more struggle. But I think it's worth it when you decide to be like, part of the battle. Like you're like, hey, I'm going to be on this side and I want to help. And that takes like protecting all of our kids to protect. And then also protecting your soul in this world where it wants to take it away from you so easily.
And I feel like that's definitely the biggest thing.
Yeah. I think they want to numb us so much where we stop thinking or we stop fighting. And that's scary to me.
And then control.
Or like make us all like robots. Like the AI.
Oh God. Not ready for that one.
Oh yeah, that's happening. We actually like the next one of these podcasts, we're going to be talking about like bringing something on with AI because it is like I'm like, go writer strike. Like, strike, strike, strike. No, they're trying to take their jobs. Like, you go and type that AI stuff and you're just like letting them write and there's no personal like feelings about it.
I'm like, have y'all not seen Terminator? Like, what is wrong with you?
And
that's literally all I can think. I'm like, people.
It's called Sky something, right? In Terminator? It's called and they actually named it that. They actually named it after Skynet. Did no one learn anything? Did we not? Just want to keep on doing it, okay? Like, I'm serious. Like, everyone's like, oh, this is so cool. Like, let me go on this AI chat and be like, hey, when's the world gonna end? And you're like, they're like, 2025. Like, I'm just like, stop feeding it information. Have you seen the robots where they freak out and these are like mad because they're doing the same job over and over again? They lose their shit.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. But yet we named something after Terminator. We learn nothing.
What's his name? John Connor? He's probably like shaking his head. He's like, oh, fools. I told you.
I'm like, I support the writer's strike. Everyone should be like, this is getting too far. Like, AI's coming to take your jobs. In more ways than one. It's scary.
It is.
I get it. I get the like beautifulness, like, and wonder of it, but I think we're messing with the wrong. That's why the aliens are coming. Earth's heartbeat's coming. They're like, stop doing what you're doing.
I know. Well, everybody, stay tuned for, that next conversation on AI. Thanks for tuning in on this episode, Blaire. It's been a pleasure.
Thank
you so much. And thank you for everybody else who listened in. This is Blaire It Out.
Thank you.